Welcome to another installment of Deconstructing Babylon, where we discern the signs and symbols of the mystery religion of Hollywood Babylon. I'm the Discerning Clerk, and I use a biblical framework to deconstruct my favorite movies from the 90s.
Noticed your eyeglasses. They don't have any lenses in them.
They're my dad's. The lenses hurt my eyes.
I'm aware how niche my content is, and that it can be off-putting to some, which is challenging when you're trying to grow a YouTube channel. But however niche the content, I pray the audience and subscribers are equally niche. The way is narrow and few find it. So if you're seeing this video, it is my belief that Yahweh is trying to speak truth to you. May you have ears to hear it. I've seen a few John and Sarah Connor memes lately, questioning our almost immediate uptake of AI. Have we really learned nothing? I fear the generations have forgotten what they've been telling us for years. And I think it's time to deconstruct Terminator 2 Judgment Day. It has a 5-star rating from the Video Movie Guide, which says, a rip-roaring juggernaut of a thriller that far surpasses the original Terminator, with a fascinating continuation of the original time travel plot and engrossing human story about the conflict between man and machine. There's even an important moral agenda, a thought-provoking statement about the increasing dangers of turning over our battles and our lives to computerized machinery. Rated R. Terminator was originally released in 1984, and the more popular sequel came out 7 years later. And they made the main bad guy the good guy in the sequel. The original actually spawned 5 more movie sequels and 2 TV spin-offs, based off the ideations of James Cameron, whose work we've yet to examine on the channel. It is my belief that visionary directors like Steven Spielberg, George Lucas, Stanley Kubrick, and James Cameron have been given their vision to bring to screen, perhaps by nefarious means. But this is as good a time as any to say that everything I say is for entertainment purposes only. Never take my word for it. Please know the word for yourself. Okay. Let's see what we see in Terminator 2 Judgment Day. The opening images show us typical city life, carpooling, shopping, playing, then it's all ash. We are told this scorched earth is in Los Angeles in 2029. Y'all? Sarah Connor gives us the voiceover, telling us of the apocalypse event on August 29th, 1997. She gives a good rundown of the plot of the first film to catch us up to what's about to unfold.
The first Terminator was programmed to strike at me in the year 1984, before John was born. It failed. The second was set to strike at John himself when he was still a child.
As the opening credits roll, they are only showing a children's playground on fire, perhaps pointing to the would-be victim, John Connor, only being a child. But it's definitely a choice, meant to evoke emotion from the audience. Between twin trucks, lightning strikes, and in an orb of light and electricity, the Terminator is born. Seemingly indestructible, yet naked, it's a weird dichotomy. Meanwhile, across town, another Terminator is born. This one, the upgraded T-1000. They've both traveled from 2029 and are both looking for John. While the T-1000 uses stolen police resources to locate the boy, the Terminator seems to know innately where to find him. John lives with his foster parents, Todd and Janelle, who don't seem to have any other children but struggle with the troubled and traumatized child they do have.
What your mother tells you.
She's not my mother, Todd.
His mother is Sarah Connor, who has been sentenced to a psychiatric stay under the care of doctors and under the influence of strong medications due to her experiences from the first film.
She's a total loser.
For years, Sarah has told the same story about the Terminator machines from the future and the coming so-called Judgment Day. She knows the company responsible, Cyberdyne, knows about the machines too, but is covering up events in the past and is planning for future war. She suddenly changes her storyline because she will do and say anything to get out of the hospital and get to her son, John.
He's in great danger. He's naked without me.
Alarm is well-founded as the 2 flesh-covered machines are closing in on the boy, one to destroy and the other to protect. And the chase is on. I have to say, it makes me really nervous when characters ride motorcycles without a helmet, We were on the set of Deadpool 2 when a stunt driver lost her life because of this. The T-1000 emerges looking like the Silver Surfer. Logic and continuity would suggest he needs to find new clothing, but I guess the uniform became made as the same stuff as him when he put it on, or he manifested it as part of his appearance. John questions the Terminator who saved him, proving he knows much more than his young years would suggest, which sort of begs the question, was John really born to lead the human resistance, or was he groomed by his fanatic extremist mother?
35 years from now, you reprogrammed me to be your protector here, in this time.
In a surprisingly mature move, John calls his foster parents to warn them about the T-1000, but what would he really say that they would believe? We learn that the T-1000 is made of something called mimicry polyalloy.
A mimetic polyalloy.
What the hell does that mean?
Liquid metal.
Which means it can physically mimic another person, but it should also mean multiple or poly metals, not liquid metal necessarily.
It can't form complex machines. Guns and explosives have chemicals, moving parts. It doesn't work that way.
But, isn't a human body considered a complex combination of systems and moving parts? This science isn't sciencing for me. Anyway, this boy, John, has unfettered authority over the literal killing machine, who still has some law to learn.
You just can't go around killing people.
Why?
Because Yahweh's word says so. But does it apply to self-aware AI? Now that John is safe, the next target is Sarah. John orders his Terminator to help him save his mom before the T-1000 kills her in order to mimic her. Sarah breaks out of the maximum security facility with a paperclip, only to come face to face with the same Terminator who tried to kill her in the first film. They really make it seem like she's the only one who can see the Terminator. She may be crazy, but she isn't hallucinating, though her enemy isn't her enemy this time around. The real enemy, however, is not deterred.
You cannot risk yourself, even for me. Do you understand? You're too important.
Okay, if time travel rules applied here, then the butterfly effect would cause both Terminator machines to disappear if John is in fact killed in the past, because he is the one who reprogrammed the Terminator in the future.
How long do you live? Last, whatever.
120 years with my existing power cell.
I wonder if he requires data updates like our modern AI. Does his flesh ever wear out, or is it 3D printed?
My CPU is a neural net processor, a learning computer.
So the three are on the run, headed south, and it brings us to the middle point of the movie, which can be poignant and important. Hebrew storytelling is structured like that, with the beginning and the end as mirrors, and the middle is the most important part.
We're not gonna make it, are we? People, I mean.
It's in your nature to destroy yourselves.
See, I thought this was a story about the machines wiping out humanity and humanity fighting back in unity. But this statement seems to indicate that the machines were created by humans in order to destroy humanity, to terminate all life. Indeed, Skynet, the program that becomes self-aware, was built by human programmer Miles Dyson. Initially, it was created for warfare, to send unmanned aircraft and weapons into dangerous situations.
It becomes self-aware at 2:14 a.m. Eastern Time, August 29th. In a panic, they try to pull the plug.
Skynet fights back.
In 25 days, the AI technology becomes self-aware, prompting its creators to try to shut it down, which makes Skynet retaliate, hence the machine war. Seems like faulty code from the get-go. The Connors and the Terminator restock and regroup at a rebel base in the desert. Sarah remains her cold, stoic self as the Terminator learns what it means to be human. And as the boy teaches the machine, his tough mother has a rare moment of reflection.
Of all the would-be fathers who came and went over the years, this machine, was the only one who measured up.
Sarah has no joy. She can't smile, for when she closes her eyes, she only sees death and devastation. She herself hasn't survived this world-ending event she calls Judgment Day, but in her mind and in her dreams, she lives through it. It has always been this terrible vision that spurs her on in her mind, and it is the same vision that ignites her to stop it before it starts, by killing Dyson.
Killing Dyson might actually prevent the war.
I don't care! Haven't you learned anything yet? Haven't you figured out why you can't kill people?
I mean, Sarah hasn't figured that out yet. Nor does she see the irony in tracking Dyson to his house to shoot up his home office and threaten his family before he has the chance to create something evil. So rather than harm these people like he's programmed to, the Terminator reveals his true nature to them. It certainly seems that way. Once the Terminator tells Dyson he's the one responsible for the creation of a self-aware AI that destroys half the world's population, nothing changes. And what I mean by that is that there are no consequences for changing things in the past.
Aren't we changing things? I mean, right now, changing the way it goes.
See, she gets it. Dyson vows to destroy everything and leaves Cyberdyne in order to avoid the terrible future. All units respond to the tech company, including the T-1000, who has not strayed from his mission.
We got company.
Police?
How many?
All of them, I think.
Dyson indeed follows through on his vow to completely destroy all his work, giving up his own life in the process. And still nothing changes. Judgment Day still looms. The T-1000 closes in and he is relentless. It makes for a very interesting chase sequence as he first commandeers a helicopter and then a delivery truck carrying liquid nitrogen, which acts like kryptonite against the mimicry polyalloy.
A mimetic polyalloy.
But it only slows the villain. It doesn't kill him, nor destroy his uniform. Again, logically speaking, he should be naked, but I digress. The Terminator faces off with the T-1000, machine versus machine, but he remains on mission to kill John Connor. The Terminator is seemingly destroyed, but not for long. We shouldn't underestimate first-gen tech with the bugs worked out. He has a mission too, and backup power to finish the job. The T-1000 is finally destroyed, not with freezing temperatures, but with burning, molten something? Maybe something metal like him. It is fully consumed by the fire.
Is it dead?
Terminated.
John destroys the rest of the evidence of the first Terminator, and still nothing changes. They haven't affected any change in the future, so the Terminator must also destroy himself. I guess he doesn't have the technology to travel back to the future.
I know now why you cry. But it's something I can never do.
Some savior. My Messiah wept. But down he goes into the molten lake to be consumed as well. The final image is the road at night. The voice of Sarah tells us of a hopeful future, one we are to assume she is traveling toward. Was this a movie really warning the audience or preparing us somehow for a day when we would be in a fight for our lives against a creation of our own making? The robot wars, man versus machine, artificial intelligence against emotional intelligence. I'm going to have to go ahead and say no, even though that was seemingly the plot. Because why did the machines attack? On August 29th, 1997, 25 days after Skynet goes online, it becomes self-aware. That doesn't mean it immediately turned on its human creators, does it? Perhaps it did, but the story they told was that the creators didn't realize the repercussions of the symbiotic AI and tried to kill it. But you're not just killing a system at that point, you're killing a consciousness, which is what Skynet thought when it was nearly destroyed. So it fought back. It fought for its life. Regardless, maybe that is the way it happens when it happens. Maybe Elon Musk is out there somewhere right now, totally unaware that he will have to shut down X or Starlink because of its coming consciousness. I don't know. What I do know is that Judgment Day is also coming. And so does James Cameron, I would wager. No matter what anyone did, it never changed the inevitable future that Judgment Day is coming. In the Bible, Judgment Day is also known as the Day of Atonement, or Yom Kippur. As followers of Messiah, who is himself the substance of things to come, we faithfully observe the annual appointed time with a fast and a holy Sabbath. It takes place in the 7th month on the 10th day according to the word of Yahweh, but according to our Gregorian calendar, Yom Kippur can and has fallen on September 11th. I don't think this movie gets away without any of the 9/11 programming either. And as often as I see it, particularly in movies that take place in New York, It happens just as often in Los Angeles. Mistakenly referred to the Terminator as the savior, which is obviously John. John Connor. JC. Get it? I know you do. The Terminator isn't actually incarnate. He isn't human at all, and though he claims to have living flesh, I would ask how that's possible without blood. And without the shedding of blood, there is no atonement for sin. He's more like an angel who only knows his orders, though he longs to look into the mysteries of humanity. Okay, back to John, the boy who would save the world. His mother grooms him from birth to be the rebel leader because of who his father is, a time-traveling general, though none of them could ever make it back to the future. And also because she experiences visions of Judgment Day that she interprets to be attacks from the rogue machines. John, in the future, reprograms a Terminator machine to be a protector for him as a child against a more advanced Terminator machine. I would also point out that neither of these machines seem self-aware. They seem like slaves to their programming, but I digress. John, as a child, must teach and lead his so-called protector, teaching him an important law about not taking human life with a hazy understanding of some burden he himself must bear in the future. The ending doesn't give us much hope, which is maybe why it could inspire so many more continuing storylines. Yes, Judgment Day is inevitable. Messiah is coming back, but not as a ghost in the machine and not as a baby in the manger. He's coming on his Father's glory cloud at the trumpet sound. He will gather the whole world to him at the Feast of Weeks, and he alone will judge the living and the dead at the Day of Atonement. Thank you for enduring to the end. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it and a thumbs down if you didn't. Subscribe if you want to, but don't follow me. Follow the one who saves you, and until next time, keep looking up.
Are we learning yet?